Hello and welcome to Go For It. I am your host, Paul, again. For the next hour, we're going to be talking sports and having fun doing it. I want all your ideas, all your opinions, and all your beliefs. And of course, you're going to get a heavy dose of my opinion. Great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk NBA Finals, of course. Game 5 going on tonight. So we're going to get to that. Brady, man, Tom Brady messed up and appears to not want to admit that he messed up, but we're going to talk about that. Also, Hall of Famer Willie Roaf will be joining us, so we're going to talk NFL with him. We got a lot of things going on. Dwayne Haskins in that situation. He's on the bench at this point for the Washington team. I want to say Washington Redskins so bad, but I got to say Washington teams because, again, you're just so used to saying that, but the Washington franchise. So obviously that's a big topic to talk about. Bill O'Brien going with the Houston Texans. We got to get to that. So we got so much to get to, and we're going to get there. Let's start with the NBA Finals. Game 5 tonight. Lakers up 3-1. Lakers wearing those Mamba jerseys. The Mamba jerseys will be on tonight, so you know what that means. I read a stat. Lakers are 4-0 with the Mamba jerseys on. So that's going to mean that's going to be some big things tonight for the Los Angeles Lakers. They're 4-0 with those Mamba jerseys on. I think it's going to be 5-0 tonight. I think the Lakers get it done. But let's just talk about this. I mean, here's the thing. A closeout game is always the hardest game to get because usually that team that is on the brink of being eliminated is going to fight like you know what to get it done. They're going to fight hard to get it done. So you expect the Miami Heat to fight hard tonight to get it done. They're going to fight hard. Now, the question is, do they have enough? Obviously, Goran Dragic will not be there. So that hurts the team, but you got Bam who's back. He played in Game 4, but you got him back. Obviously, you got Jimmy Buckets who's there, who's balling. So you still got some key components there, but man, they could have used Dragic in this series. They really could, but he's not going to be there. So they're going to have to learn and try to figure out to do this thing without him. Tyler Hero is going to have to be big. Duncan Robinson is going to have to be big. But I think it's just the Lakers' time. It's just their Lakers' time. And it's fitting that they're wearing the Mamba jerseys tonight. It's so fitting. We all know what happened to Kobe Bryant, unfortunately, passed away back in January. But the Lakers have been fighting. And LeBron, here's the thing. LeBron came to Los Angeles for this moment. Anthony Davis came to Los Angeles for this moment. Rondo, and we looked at that Rondo acquisition and it was like, what's Magic Johnson thinking here? But Magic was on to something. Playoff Rondo is a different man. That's a different animal there. Playoff Rondo is a different animal, and he's balling. So you got Rondo. What an acquisition that was. I mean, Magic's fingerprints are all over this basketball team. JaVale McGee's giving them big-time moments throughout these playoffs. And again, he's just been a big-time role player, solid role player for this team. Obviously, Rondo, a solid role player for this team. You know, the drafting of Kuzma, that was big. That's Magic. I mean, so give Magic Johnson credit. Bringing LeBron coming to Los Angeles. Maybe that doesn't happen if Magic is not there. So Magic built this basketball team, and obviously Rob Pelinka helped get Anthony Davis, but you can argue LeBron, the GM, made that happen. You can argue that LeBron put on his GM hat and made sure Anthony Davis, who was signed to Clutch Sports, and we all know Clutch Sports, LeBron, those are LeBron's guys. Those are LeBron's guys. So LeBron may have gotten Anthony. Let's just say LeBron got Anthony Davis. Let's take the May out of it. LeBron was one of the reasons that Anthony Davis is in Los Angeles. So you got those two guys, and obviously we can talk about them being a dynamic duo maybe for the next few years. I mean, Anthony Davis is elite. When he's healthy, he's elite. There's no doubt about it. The question is, can he stay healthy? But here's the thing. Jimmy Butler, and I'm not going to say the Heat have no chance tonight. I'm not going to say the Heat don't have a shot tonight. They have Jimmy Butler, who's a gamer, who's big time, who had that big-time performance, that triple-double, that 40-point triple-double. I mean, Jimmy Butler did it all in that particular game, but it's just one game. He kind of, I don't want to make, I don't know if this is a good comparison, but I made the comparison anyway. You remember 2001 when the Sixers, Allen Iverson, and that Sixers team beat the Lakers in that first game of that series? And I know it wasn't game one, it was game three that Jimmy Butler had that big-time performance. But you look at it, that was the only game the Philadelphia 76ers won. And that was Allen Iverson's best game by far in that particular series. He had his moment. He had his time. And he scored the 48 points. We all know the step over Ty Lue, so on and so forth. That was a big-time performance out of Allen Iverson, and ultimately the Sixers won that game, but win another one. That was it. It was a gentleman's sweep at that point. Now you have this situation, Jimmy Butler with a huge performance. I mean, no Bam, no Dragic, and Jimmy Butler comes up with a huge performance. I mean, puts up 40 big-time points. I mean, messed around and got a triple-double. But at the end of the day, that was one game. And the Heat don't have the firepower to beat the Los Angeles Lakers. And I said this last week, and I'm going to reiterate this point. For the Miami Heat, them getting to the NBA Finals was a win. Their season is a success. No matter what happens from this point forward, no matter what happened in these NBA Finals, their season was a success. That's not the case for the Los Angeles Lakers. For their season to be a success, they have to win this series. Bottom line, point blank. They got to get number 17 for the Lakers. That's the only way that their season is a success. So the Lakers just have the better talent, just have the better team. And it's just time for LeBron to get number 4. He came to Los Angeles. He went to Cleveland. Well, let's start. He went to Miami from Cleveland to get a ring. He got 2. He went back to Cleveland from Miami to get a ring for Cleveland, get a ring for the land. He did that. And now he went to Los Angeles to get a ring for the Los Angeles Lakers. So LeBron is going to do what he planned, and the reason he came to Los Angeles is for what's going to happen tonight. He came to Los Angeles for a ring, and he'll get that ring tonight. I mean, it was great run by the Miami Heat. I mean, obviously, no one expected, well, I wouldn't say no one, but the odds were stacked against this team in terms of getting to the NBA Finals. No one, I wouldn't say no one, but again, the odds in terms of beating the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round, a lot of people didn't have that. In terms of beating the Boston Celtics in the conference finals, there were some who did not have that. So the Miami Heat, they're here, but again, their season is already a success. And they can build upon what they have here. Jimmy Butler has proven, first of all, Jimmy Butler has always been a star, I think. He's been a star. But Jimmy Butler has proven that maybe we can start talking about Jimmy Butler as almost a superstar at this point. I mean, he's proven in these playoffs the ability to carry a basketball team. I'm not saying he's the sole reason, but he is the heart and soul of that basketball team. They're not here, obviously, without Jimmy Butler. And the biggest difference between this team from a year ago is Jimmy Butler. So, again, as much as I want to see this series go on, as much as I would like to have a long series, it's just not going to be possible. It's just not. And it's time for the Lakers to celebrate TFJ boxing. It's time for the Lakers to celebrate. It's time. It's time, TFJ. The Lakers will celebrate tonight, and they will get the heck out of the bubble. The bubble will be shut down, closed, locked up, broken down, and goes back to whatever it used to be. Because this is it. This is it. The question is, do the Miami Heat want to get out of this bubble? Or are they tired of the bubble? Or are they going to fight? I mean, based on what we've seen out of this basketball team this season, I mean, this is an Eric Spoelstra team. This is a Pat Riley team. Those type of teams don't just roll over. So I don't expect the Miami Heat to roll over. So they're going to give a big-time performance. They're going to get a big-time performance out of everybody, especially Jimmy Buckets. And again, I as a Sixers fan, to talk about Jimmy Butler just pains me. It pains me. Gives me hurts my heart, hurts my mind, hurts my body. It hurts my soul to see Jimmy Butler in that Heat uniform. It just makes me want to cry from time to time. But I compose myself and I get through it. Because Jimmy Butler, again, I reiterate this and I say it all the time, but Jimmy Butler did what Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid couldn't do. He was that guy. But now he's gone. He's with Miami. So we have to celebrate him in Miami and celebrate the greatness of Jimmy Butler because this guy has played some big-time basketball. He's played some big-time basketball. No doubt about it. He's been a beast. He's been a problem for everybody in these playoffs and in the bubble. The question again now, can he do it one more time? I just think it's just the perfect storm. Mamba jerseys tonight. It just means only one thing. Lakers win, and Lakers move on, and Lakers get number 17. LeBron gets number 4. And I do, and I said this last, I'll repeat myself. I think this is it for LeBron. I think this is going to be his last chance to win an NBA title because I think those Clippers are going to be tough. I think they're going to be tough. I think they're going to get another year together, and they're going to be tough to beat. So, again, the bubble bursts tonight. The bubble ends. The bubble is over. And the Los Angeles Lakers get number 17, and LeBron gets number 4. Let's bring in a guy now, Hall of Famer. So he's got a Hall of Fame jacket. He's got that Hall of Fame ring. The one, the only, Hall of Famer, Willie Roaf. Willie.
Paul, how you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
Good. What happened, Paul? We talked about it last week, and NFL's having some issues with this COVID now.
Yes. You got a bunch of games being moved around, postponed, things. Last week we saw the postponement. Patriots and Chiefs were moved to Monday. We saw that. Steelers and Titans, we saw that situation. Now you got this week, the Bills and Titans have been moved. The Patriots and Broncos have been moved. So you wonder, and you got a situation with the Jets as well. So you wonder, with the COVID-19 situation, can the NFL survive it? And you got to say there's got to be some doubts at this point.
Yeah, there's got to be. I told you, when those teams start testing positive, you're throwing a couple teams off. So for every one team, you're throwing, 2 teams off. And now they're talking about taking games from Tennessee, maybe. They're forfeiting games and guys losing game checks. So I hope they can keep it together. Maybe they shorten the season up. I don't know. Maybe they have to adjust on the fly. I don't know what they will do, but you got to try to keep everybody safe. So it's a tough deal, especially with the COVID spiking again. With especially, it's still 85, 90 degrees down here in Florida, but like you said, where it's getting cold, it's going to be spiking some. So, unless they just go to the facility and go home and kind of quarantine themselves for the remainder of the season, you and your family kind of got to cut everything off, Paul, until this season's over if you want to stay safe.
But here's the thing. Even if let's just say you stay safe. You're the ultimate guy. You don't go nowhere. You stay in the house. You got kids, right? Let's just say your kids are doing in-person school 5 days a week or 2 days a week, and they're being exposed. So your kids come home, and it's a possibility that your kids give it to you. So the thing about it is you could be Mr. Perfect and do everything correct, everything right. But it's really incumbent upon everybody else to do everything correct, everything right. So you can only control it to a certain point.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of times the kids don't have any idea they have it. And they might think they got a little cold or something, and they don't know they got COVID. Or they asymptomatic, so you never know.
And here's also the thing. You wonder, you look at the NBA, right? And the NBA ultimately said, you know what, March, timeout, let's shut this down. And ultimately the whole country pretty much shut down back in March. But timeout, let's pause this thing and let's restart. Is there a possibility? I mean, if it gets too bad, we're in November, it gets too bad, does the NFL say, you know what, let's pause this, let's, regroup and maybe bring it back February? I mean, do they take 2 to 3 months off and then come back when possibly the weather is warmer and possibly COVID is not spiking the same way? Or
it's hard to do that, Paul, because you got to start training camp. You got to give your body time to rest. So it's kind of hard to do that because of the situation with off season and giving your body time to rest. I mean, that's like guys when they went over to NFL Europe. A lot of guys that played in the league that had to go to NFL Europe, they would go to NFL Europe, what you're saying, February through April, May, and play about 10 games, and they come back for training camp. But that's tough on your body, especially guys that are vets and stuff to have to play football till maybe April, and then you got to turn back around and start again and go to training camp May, June, and July. I mean, you don't get a break.
I think you talked about the shortened season, and to me, and I don't know the implications in terms of the money, in terms of the TV deals and things of that nature, but a shortened season to me would seem like the best thing to do in terms of everything, a shortened season, because I mean, other than pausing, it's either to me pause or shortened season at this point. And again, we don't know what could happen. Maybe we get a vaccine at some point, sometime. I don't know. But it's either pause or shorten, I would think, if this thing really gets out of hand.
I think that's the only thing you can do, pause it or shorten it, but I don't think you can pause it. I think you got to try to figure it out on the fly, which they probably have some scenarios in their mind. And I think they just got to they got to figure out and get this thing done because, if you get a vaccine, is it going to work? When does it kick in? Some people are saying January, February. Some people are saying mid, the middle of the year next year. So we don't know when the vaccine is going to come. So I just think it's too many ifs in the air. You got to try to figure out how you can finish this season. You got to take a couple games off the schedule this year, then you do what you got to do. But you got to try to get that Super Bowl done in February.
Well, here's also the thing in terms of the financials. Obviously, we know first and foremost the NFL is going to find – the NBA found a way to get it done. Kudos to them. Major League Baseball, they found a way to get it done. It didn't seem like baseball was going to make it, but they got it. They got to the finish line. It seems like they're going to get to the finish line. And then now we look at the NFL. People love the NFL. More so than baseball and NBA. People really can't live without – they can live without anything, but football's king in America. And so I think everybody is going to try to do whatever they can do to make sure that this season comes to a proper conclusion. How, when, where, that's all going to be up in the air. I think at this point, I think a playoff bubbles definitely has to be in play at this point because of, especially if this thing continues to spike the way it's spiking, if we get the second wave, if that happens, I don't know any of that stuff, but if it happens, some kind of second wave of some sort, and it gets worse, they're going to have to figure out something.
Yes, I agree with you. They're going to have to figure out something, and let's hope that it's not multiple guys. When you get with Tennessee, when you got 20 guys, then you can't play because you got to shut down the facility. If you only have a couple guys, then you can play the game, Paul. Let's hope that it's not too many guys on these teams. And like you said, 1 or 2 guys, then, yeah, we can manage it. But when it gets where it's 5, 10, 15 guys, then you got to shut it down. And
then you look at it from the standpoint, you can argue that COVID may have cost the Patriots that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, defensively, New England played pretty well in that particular game. They just didn't get anything from their offense. Cam Newton's in there, maybe it's a whole different story. So, we knew coming into the season that COVID could have an impact on star players, and obviously it is coming to fruition at this point in time. What happens is anybody's guess. moving forward. So let me ask you this. And last night, Tom Brady, 4th and 6. Obviously, Tom Brady thought it was 3rd down. I mean, he can deny it all he wants. He can say all the things that he wants to say and so on and so forth. But it was clear. It was clear that Tom Brady thought it was he thought it was the 3rd down. He could deny it. Bruce Arians can deny it. Everybody can deny it. But at the end of the day, Tom Brady thought it was 3rd down. So your thoughts on that? Are you disappointed in Tom Brady? Because we saw that particular game. He was getting after guys, getting after the offensive line because they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, with the line getting beat that bad, I just think, he's not in New England anymore. Things are going to be a little different. He didn't know it was 4th down, and I just think it's a bad look when you're out there yelling at guys on the field. You can get after them a little bit, but some guys will take that personal. So, it's just he lost track of the down, which we could see, and you got to watch it. If you want to get at the guys, but you don't want to do that too much. That's the coach's job. So, I just don't. I don't like. If you got something to say to me, you pull me to the side or talk to me on the sideline. But like you said, it's the way you do it to communicate with these guys. You got some young guys, and that one play, the one play when Mac got him, that's a tough play, Paul, because that's basically a play action read. So everybody else is run faking, right? You got to go sell it like you're getting a run. The one late in the game when he went inside the left tackle, when the left tackle was we ran that play a lot in Kansas City. The left tackle's 1-on-1 with the end. So I got to sell, run, and get in the 3-point stance. You got to stay inside out on the guy, though. You can't overplay him outside because Mac's a vet. So he knows that play's coming because he's seen him running. He's watching film. So you got to sell the run action, but not oversell it where you can set up and get the defensive end to freeze. And then the quarterback's dropping back 7 yards or whatever and throwing the ball. So everybody else is selling run, but they're inside with the 3 technique, and you have the tight end on the right side that's blocking with the tackle. So it's fine for them, but for that left tackle, that's a tough block because he's 1-on-1 with that defensive end who's reading everything. And if it's a guy that's a vet like Mac, he's going to read it. He's going to go inside and come upfield where the tackle should have stayed inside out. But it's a tough play because you're not dropping back for the pass. You're selling run for the play action first, and then you're freezing them, and then doing the pass protection. So it's a tough deal.
So let me ask you this: have you ever been in a situation where a quarterback has come off the field and they're yelling some things in the direction of the offensive line?
To me personally, not that often, no.
Okay. Well, you're a Hall of Famer. It doesn't happen much to you.
Well, yeah, now like you said, I knew in the game when I was in Kansas City, when I remember late in my career. Okay, boom, the play's called. This play, I got a sail run, but the quarterback's faking it to the back and he's dropping back 5 to 7 yards. But I got to pass protect. So you're in a tough situation there. Another thing that these guys have to do too, once they become vets, they got to switch up their stance. Sometimes you get in the 2-point stance when you're run blocking. Sometimes you get in the 3-point stance when you're pass blocking. You got to mix up your stance so they can't read anything. Again, that was a good play by Khalil Mack late in the game, but that play for a left tackle is one of the toughest blocks he's going to have to do when a team runs that type of play.
So let me ask you this: we saw Tom Brady yelling at the guys. And again, at the end of the game, it seems like he doesn't know what down it is. And then after the game, he doesn't take responsibility. He denies it. He said, he basically said that he knew it was 4th down. It's clear he didn't know it was 4th down based off his body language, based off some of the things that he did, putting up the 4 sign, so on and so forth. So is that a bad look for Tom Brady not admitting that he was wrong, that he made a mistake?
It's a bad look, but it was going to be tough to win the game anyway. They only had 30 seconds on the clock. How much time was on the game left anyway? So it was going to be tough for them to get down there and win that game against a Chicago defense to begin with. So, they went down to kick the field goal, and give credit to Chicago. They answered. They got down and they kicked the field goal, and they stopped Tom. I mean, if he had gotten in field goal range, then they might have had a shot to win that game. But I mean, Chicago got it done, and they got it done. So it wasn't a pretty game. It was a good game. It was a competitive game. Tampa Bay's defense played okay, and it's going to be tough to win. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. They won last week, and they just had a tough game, Paul. You got to take the good with the bad. But Tom's playing well. I think he's playing well considering he's 43 years old, and looking at him now, I think he's got maybe a year or two left in him, but we'll see. I mean, I think he's setting up shop in Tampa, and they're still a good football team.
Yeah, and he definitely appears to still have it. Obviously, he's not the Tom Brady of yesteryear, but he's still a good football player, still a very good football player. So it should be interesting to see what happens with him moving forward. So let me ask you this. We look at the situation in Washington now. Dwayne Haskins sent to the bench. Kyle Allen will get to start for Washington this week. I look at the situation like this, and I know, I was reading somewhere Ron Rivera did say that, again, Haskins, he's not throwing him away. He still has an opportunity, so on and so forth. I look at it like this. To me, and you can argue that, yes, maybe Washington has a chance to win the NFC East because it's a bad division. But at the same time, it's fool's gold because you're not a good football team. So you might as well develop the quarterback, give him an opportunity to develop, give him an opportunity to get right. I mean, the guy only had 13 starts. And so he's still a young football player. He's still learning the game, hasn't played a full season, and he's getting yanked. So I don't like the move. I think it's a bad move. I think you got to let the kid play. Now, here's the thing. When looking at Dwayne Haskins, do I think he's going to be a very good quarterback? I'd have to say no at this point. Just looking at him, I don't see it. But at the same time, I think he should be given the opportunity to get it right, get it wrong, so on and so forth. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I think he should be playing. I don't know how his turnovers been. I know he had threw for 300 or whatever against Baltimore.
314 against Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the kid should be playing still. I think he should be playing. I agree with you. I think it's too soon to pull him. The owner drafted him. This is the problem when your owner drafts somebody and the coach, you got a new coach. Maybe he doesn't like him. Maybe he doesn't like what he sees every week in practice, Paul. So we're not there every day.
That's true.
Maybe he thinks he's not as mature, or he's not making the right reads in practice, because that's a lot of it. I mean, the coaches are studying and watching him every day in practice and analyzing. So they want to see you make the right reads and right progresses and go through your charts and know everything. And if they don't see you doing that, that could be part of the reason they pulled him. I don't think it's about a performance on the game. I think they're watching his preparation every week, and they're judging him off that too.
Yeah, and definitely that could be a part of it as well. But it's just, I know. Here's the thing with Haskins. Haskins is not Ron Rivera's guy. That's not the guy he drafted. He inherited Haskins, so that's not his guy. So you can understand why Rivera would be quick to cut the cord, if you will. But again, Washington is not a good football team. And again, this team, and we could talk about again how bad the NFC East is, but this is still not a good football team. I don't care how bad the NFC East is. They're not going to win enough football games because they're not a good enough football team. So to me, you let the young guy get out there, let him make his mistakes, and see what you got. And if you figure out after the season that you don't think he's good enough, and you got a high draft pick, and you got an opportunity to get the quarterback that you really like or really want, well, guess what? Then you can do that. But at this point, I just think it's a mistake. But again, like you said, we're not at the practices. We're not there. We don't see this guy every day. So there's a reason why Ron Rivera did what he did. So we'll see if he gets his job back. But at this point, it's Kyle Allen's at this point. And I look at Kyle Allen, and I saw what I needed to see out of him. I don't think he's very good. but he might be good enough to get you a win now. He's probably, I mean, there's times where certain quarterbacks are better than than young quarterbacks at that stage of their development. Doesn't mean they're better, long term, but at this point in time, Kyle Allen probably gives them a better chance of winning, but at what cost? And
are you going to put Alex Smith out there with that leg? I'm afraid to put him out there with that leg.
He's been cleared, and he is going to be the backup. So, I mean, it does look, it's a great story that Alex Smith made that comeback, but I'm kind of a little scared for him. I'm a little afraid for him, to be honest.
I mean, that leg all them surgeries, that leg got mangled, man. It was bad. So, I don't know, man. If I'm Alex Smith, I'm his wife. I'm like, you've had a heck of a run. I know Alex made a lot of money. I mean,
made a lot of money.
I think this year was guaranteed on the deal. It might be time to go home.
I think so, but maybe they see something that we don't. I don't know. But, yeah, that leg doesn't look good. We know Joe Theismann, similar injury, similar situation. He never played.
Yeah, Joe's wasn't that bad. Joe didn't have to have all them surgeries. He didn't go through what Alex went through.
And Joe never played again. That was it for Joe.
No, Joe never played again, exactly. But Joe, even though Joe never played again, in the surgery, we know the surgery, the doctors weren't as good back then. The medicine had advanced, but
right, for sure.
Joe didn't go through it. I mean, Alex, it was serious. It was touch and go there for a minute with him.
For sure.
With the infection.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really want to see him play again, but he's going to do it. And hey, at this point, he's one snap away from getting in there. So we'll see what happens. Bill O'Brien. Texans are 0-4 right now, and they finally pulled the plug on Bill O'Brien. I will say Bill O'Brien, the coach, wasn't too bad, but Bill O'Brien, the GM, wasn't very good at all. I mean, just some of the moves that he made over the years. Laramie Tunsil, highest paid tackle, gave him a bunch of money, dealt a few guys away for him. DeAndre Hopkins, all-world receiver, got rid of him. The list goes on and on, the guys and the talent that he let walk out that door. Do you think it was time for Bill O'Brien to go?
Yeah, I don't think the teams made the playoffs. They've done well somewhat. When you arguing, regardless, it's J.J. Watts. When you're arguing with J.J. Watts out there, and you're not winning, that's not the guy you need to be fussing with. But some people can do that. Did Shanahan do it and they're successful? They were coach GMs. You can look up the guys. That's hard to have that job because you got a conflict of interest because you're dealing with guys in contracts. You're the GM, and you're a coach. That needs to be separated. You see my point?
Right.
So it's hard. I feel like he let away too many good players. I never would have traded Hopkins. I never would have traded. I'm not going to trade an all-pro receiver that my quarterback has chemistry with. You can't. Right. I'm not going to trade that guy. Larry Tunsil, he's good. Is he a perennial Pro Bowler? No, but he's a good player. I mean, they let Dwayne Brown go. He was a good player.
Right.
I mean, look, Brown's protecting what you call this Brown side?
Watson.
You didn't want to play Brown all the money, which would have been cheaper to keep Brown than it would have been to pay Tunsil almost $20 million or whatever a year. You could have gave Brown less than that to keep him at left tackle.
Right.
So I don't get it. I don't know why you didn't want to pay Brown, but you bring in Tunsil. Brown's a real good player too. So some of the moves were questionable. In '96 we had a tough season in the middle season, and we had played Cincinnati, and Jim Everett threw the ball right to the linebacker. I'm blocking. I'm watching. I kind of exploded in the locker room, and Moore walked out on us in the middle of the season. We talking about Jim Moore, and it was a tough year. We went 3-13, and Dicker came in, and stuff like that happened. But it's rare you see somebody like that get let go in at that point in the season. And if he did get let go at that point in the season, that tells you things were pretty bad in that locker room, Paul. Things were not good. he had lost the team. Guys were disgruntled, and everybody could see it. And if the coaches and the equipment guys and the medical guys and all of them see that, they're going upstairs saying, "Look, we got some serious problems. He's lost control of this team. You got to get him out of here." And that's why they probably let him go.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, there's one thing to argue with this guy, that guy, but if you're arguing with, like you said, a J.J. Watt, it becomes a different story. It becomes a situation where it's hard to win and hard to be successful when you're arguing with maybe one of the best defensive ends in football and a guy who's one of the faces of that franchise. So that's a difficult situation.
The face of that city.
Yeah.
One of the faces of the city. When that hurricane and all that stuff and all the money he raised, he's not the face of that city.
Yeah, for sure. So you talked about it, Jim Mora, when he quit in 1996. What was that like?
It was hard to see. We couldn't imagine he would quit. We went to play Carolina, got beat. I think there was some other stuff going on with him, Paul, outside of football too. I won't get into that, but there was some other stuff I think he had going on, and with his family situation. So it was tough to see him leave. I mean, he was there and helped me develop, and he was tough on us, man. Ex-Marine, so we practiced hard, and it was tough. But it was hard to see him go like that in the middle of the year. I know he probably to this day regrets it, quitting like that. And then he went on to Indianapolis and coached there. But, it had to be pretty bad for him to walk away in the middle of the season.
You ever talk to him about it?
No, I never brought it up. No, I never. I don't talk to him that often. Last time I saw him at Mr. Benson's funeral, and we talked.
Okay.
He met Angela for the first time, but I think I saw him when I went into Louisiana when the Saints Hall of Fame Ring of Honor. But no, I don't really talk about it. We were upset and we weren't happy, and like I said, I think there was some other issues going on there.
So we saw with the Rams and Giants, Golden Tate and Jalen Ramsey. Obviously those two have a beef of some sort. We all know that Ramsey was with Golden Tate's sister. They had 2 kids together. We know Ramsey allegedly cheated on Tate's sister, and now he's with someone else, and so on and so forth. So it's a little messy, but it's life at the same time. I mean, how many people in regular world?
You remember Shannon Sharp and DT fighting on Monday Night Football.
Right.
I know what that was about, and I know who it was about.
So with that being said, I mean, how common are those things? I mean, it's a small world when you look at it, and it appears that a lot of people know a lot of people within that small world. But
it's more common than you think with these Instagram models and these girls and the guys and what they're doing. I mean, look at what's going on in the NBA Finals. The girl dated Kyle Kuzma, now she's dating Hero. So it happens. And in the NBA, it's funny. I'll tell you a story. I went to Miami when PJ Brown was playing for the Heat. And I went to a party. They were having a party with the girlfriends or wives. Some of them are living together, but they're not really together or whatever. And was there. Mourning was there. Hardaway was there. Terry Porter. But after the game, the Lakers won the game. So they have a party at the club. So I'm with me and PJ riding by the club, and I'm like, hold on, one of them girls at the house with don't they go with these guys that play for the Heat? Aren't they? These are their women, right? And they're going in the club, and he's like, well, we lost the game. They're going in to hang out with the Lakers. So I mean, I guess you got a guaranteed contract. You're gonna do what you want to do, and I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Right.
A lot of them had those type of situations.
But in the situation here, I mean, that Golden Tate's sister, dated Jalen Ramsey. So, obviously that's his sister. So he's going to, any brother is going to look out for their sister. And so, obviously that situation is personal. And obviously
it's very personal. It's very messy. He's got 2 little kids. They need to worry about those kids.
Right.
Obviously, she's probably not happy with the whole situation of everything that went down.
For sure.
And is hurt by it. And that's why Tate and him reacted that way. And they're battling each other on the field. So, they're talking mess the whole game.
For sure.
About stuff, personal stuff, because they have a personal relationship. So it's not good, but stuff like that goes on. Or when you have a player, everybody knows this. Marcus Allen was married to his wife, and he had a show with what's the linebacker's name that played for the Kansas City, and he got traded to San Diego. Was a real good player, and they are together, and married her. The linebacker married her. What's the linebacker's name? That was real good to play.
Not Merriman.
The Chiefs and for the Chargers.
Sean Merriman?
No.
Junior Seau?
No. Saints and Chargers. What's his name? I forget his name. The line. It starts with a D, but he ended up marrying Marcus Allen next wife.
Okay. All right.
And you can look that up. Look that up. Look up Marcus Allen, and you'll get his name.
You're talking about Donnie Edwards.
Donnie Edwards.
Okay.
Married Marcus Allen's ex. But Donnie Edwards and Marcus had a show together in Kansas City.
Okay.
And then Donnie went to obviously the Chargers. She's from California. I don't know how they got connected, but they're married.
Well, here's also the thing. I think it's kind of like this, and I could be wrong. You correct me if I'm wrong. It's kind of like this. When you live in a small town, right? It seems that everybody dated, you may have dated a girl that maybe someone has dated, or multiple people have dated. Mm-hmm. So that's what it seems like in terms of these athletes. I mean, the same girls are recycled amongst different people.
This is the deal. When you go to these cities, right? Back when you were going hanging out, if you go to the top end clubs and stuff in LA or all these cities, all the pretty girls in the club, right? Well, all the pretty girls in the club, if you run into them and they're hanging out, you just got there. They've already, somebody else has been talking to them. You see what I'm saying, Paul?
Right.
They've been around a little bit. And if it ain't a football player, you got a baseball player, you got a basketball player, you got the hockey guy's a little different. I don't see hockey guys out. But if it's not a football player, it's somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's like the woman likes athletes like a woman likes doctors.
Right.
Women that date doctors, date doctors.
Right. But here's the thing. Here's, outside looking in, man, there's a lot of women out here. Man, you got a lot of money. Man, you're probably in the best shape of your life. So why do you need to get the recycled ones? Why do you need to recycle when you have the options that you have? You don't need to recycle when you have all these different options. I mean, you kind of pick what you want, from the hair to the eyes to the lips, the nose, even maybe even a personality. When you are a professional athlete with a lot of money and, decent looking and so on and so forth. Why go after the recycled one? Why recycle when you don't have to recycle? Because
maybe, and a lot of times you might know the guys, you might already have met the girl because they were with the other guy and you were with somebody at the time. I mean, because that's who's in your face, Paul, and that's who's in. And I'm sorry, those girls are intriguing, and they're gonna give these guys a hard time.
Right.
Look at the Kardashians. Look at Kendall. I mean, right. she dated Blake, and she's dated
Ben,
yeah, and now she's with the guard from Phoenix, Devin Booker.
Oh, yeah. So
why would it's Devin Booker now? Devin Booker can go and date. Maybe Devin Booker likes dating her because she can take him on a private jet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but man, there's so many women out.
I agree with you. I wouldn't go down that road if I'm looking for that to be my wife. If you're looking to hang out, that's certain different. But if you're looking to settle down, no, I don't want to go. I didn't want to go with somebody that, had been with athletes. But
Right.
when I was young, you get caught in a situation.
Right.
If the girl lives in another city, you train in off season, she's not going to tell you all the people she's talking to. So if she's cute and you see her out and you want to talk to her, you take that chance, because if she's been with 3 or 4 dudes, she's not going to tell you about it. It might be from different sports, but you might not. You might find out after you put a bun in the oven.
And in fairness to the athletes, and let's be real, everybody's significant other has been recycled by somebody some way, shape, or form. So we all like recyclables, I guess, at the end of the day. I mean, let's
We just don't want to be recycled by somebody I'm going and hanging out with or seeing somewhere that I'm going to run into all the time. And he's like, oh,
yeah,
I used to
know the people
telling this boy I used to, hang out with that. That's where it gets tough.
Yeah, nobody wants that at all. So let me ask you this. We look at the Dallas Cowboys, right? They're struggling. I mean, Dak Prescott has been decent, but defensively they can't stop anybody. I mean, they were down throughout that whole game last week against the Cleveland Browns. They get back into the game, 41-38, and then Odell Beckham on the reverse scores a touchdown. I mean, you can't give up 49 points and expect to win games. I don't care how good your offense is. And go ahead.
I hate to. And I heard Skip said McCarthy's first coordinator job was with us in New Orleans in 2000. He was a heck of a coordinator. We got him from Green Bay. But I'm going to tell you, Mike McCarthy's been in the league. What he was doing then is 2020 now. It's not 2000. And you go and hire Mike. They hire Mike McCarthy because they want. This is what happened with a lot of owners, because it's their boy or they want to control him, right? From upstairs. Okay. And then he goes and hires somebody that hadn't coached since 2000, been a coordinator in that long. You can't hire. You got to hire fresh, innovative guys. If he wanted to go get an offensive guy, he should have hired Eric Bieniemy that's in Kansas City.
Right.
That guy is innovative. He's young. He knows young coaches that are coaching in the league that know what they're doing. If you want to go hire somebody young and innovative that's in the league. Eric Bieniemy's done a great job with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he should have a head job, and that would have been a good hire. He works with Mahomes. He's the type of coach that can figure out what Dak does best and capitalize on it. And when the coach in Cleveland early this year, they weren't moving him out of the pocket. And Baker is a quarterback you move around and you move him and get him out in different lanes. You don't let him sit in the pocket all game. He's accurate and you move him around. So McCarthy has a great resume. Would I have hired him? No, I would have hired Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, and he'll probably get hired after this year. It took a while. I'm glad they got to keep him because he helped get Mahomes, and what he's done in Kansas City has been excellent. Well, maybe I hope he doesn't get hired. But if I was the Cowboys, I wouldn't have gone and got McCarthy. I would have went and got, just like Matt LaFleur, that he's young and innovative. Mm-hmm. I would have went and got one of these innovative younger coaches, because the league has changed since 2000. It's a different league. So you have to adjust accordingly.
But here, McCarthy, to his credit, did have success in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. But to your point, Josh McDaniels had Tom Brady, had a lot of success. He ultimately got a job. I mean, anybody with the success that the Chiefs have had over the past few years, that OC, whoever that person is, usually has a head coaching job by this. They usually
do for 50 touchdowns, man.
Right. So
he should have had a job 2 years ago.
Right. There's not much more he can do offensively with that team. There's not much more that team can do. So Eric Bieniemy, yes, he deserves a job. Yes,
and on top of this, Paul, you got an offensive line with 2 starters out. You got the doctor over there in Canada, and right. you have another lineman hurt. You 2 down on the line.
Right. Right. And so, yeah, to your point, he's definitely a guy that deserves a head coaching job. I mean, maybe Houston is the job that he gets. Maybe he gets the Houston job with Deshaun Watson. I mean, that would be
a good fit. He's a mobile quarterback. No,
right.
You got to let him come in, bring his people in, let him do his job. And this is a problem with the Cowboys, what everybody says. They want to control everything. It's time for them to figure out if they're going to give up the reins or not. I don't know. Jerry's almost 80 years old. He can go sit out on the yacht. I mean, the money's going to come in. Do you need to be there every day? You know, is his son Steven going to take over? I don't know. I think it's time for them to hire somebody to run the team that's qualified to be running the team, and let them do what they got to do. But I don't think they want to give up control.
Yeah, and yes, and they don't. And defensively, they're bad in Dallas. They're just a bad defense. But talent-wise, I think they have the most talent in the NFC East, and I think they easily could win the division by default because
they just lost their left tackle for the year with a neck. That's not good.
Huge. Tyron Smith, that's huge.
And Collins is out for the year with a hip.
Yeah, that's huge as well.
You got both tackles out.
That's huge. That's huge.
No, it's trouble.
Yeah, but I still think they can fix. They can maybe put some Band-Aids on, but I think
if you got to protect the quarterback, you got two backup tackles that left and right. If I'm a defense, if I'm a defensive end, I'm chopping my ears. I'm pinning my ears back trying to get out to them kids.
But I just feel yes, and it's probably definitely going to happen. But I think talent-wise, they have the most talent in the NFC East. It's just a matter of and that's not saying much. That's not saying much at all. It's not like I'm saying they have the most talent in the AFC West with the Kansas City.
No, I'm not going to. I think Philly's got the most talent. Philly's got the experience. I'm gonna give Philly the edge over them. I'm not gonna say that. Washington, no. Who else is it? Washington and this, huh?
Giants, no.
The Giants, no. They got a young quarterback. I think Philly's got the upper edge over them.
I think if there's going to be any team that's going to trouble the Cowboys in terms of the NFC East, it is going to be the Eagles. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles won the division. But I think talent-wise, I thought the Cowboys were more talented last year than the Eagles. The Eagles were so banged up last year, but again, talent doesn't always necessarily win in football. So it's all about chemistry too as well. And we'll see what happens. But Dallas off to a 1-3 start at this point. They have the Giants this week. They'll probably get to 2-3. And, maybe they'll get on top of the NFC East at some point in time. But I think they have the most talent. Time will tell if that truly is the case. So NBA Finals, Game 5, your boy LeBron James, your guy on the verge of getting number 4. He will get number 4. It's just a matter if it's today, Sunday, or any other day in this series. But I think it's over. They're wearing the Mamba jerseys tonight. I think it's over. I think it ends tonight. It's not going to be easy. I think Miami's going to play hard. Miami's going to play tough. They're not going to bow down, but they're just not good enough. And I think the Lakers will get it done tonight.
I do too. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think the Lakers need to come out and send a message early, like they did Game 1, and get up on them and not let them boys get going, not let them hang around, Paul. It's like they go through stretches where they play good, then they go through stretches where they don't. If the Lakers get hot and they hit some threes and they get off to a good start and everybody gets involved, I think it'll be better for them. If Bam's in the game, then you can put Dwight in there more. So, I'm looking for the Lakers to go out there and press the issue. The pressure's on Miami. The pressure's all on Miami. And you can't let Hero and remember I said Hero was going to step up, but, Jimmy had that great game, that all-time great finals game, and that's what carried him that one game. But, you gotta slow Hero and Robinson. Don't let them get comfortable. And I think the Lakers got to come out there shooting good and playing good, and everybody playing free and having a good time. And if they do, they'll be able to take over the game in the second half. But they got to come out and send a message to them early.
Yeah, I think again, Miami's going to give them a big time effort. It's just a Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra team. They're not going to roll over. But I think, really at the end of the day, I think it's just a talent difference. There's a talent gap. I'm not saying it's sizable, but there is a talent gap.
And there's a size gap.
Yeah. And I just think if LeBron and Anthony Davis are at their best.
If LeBron and AD have 60 to combine plus, it should be a good night if the role players play the role. You know who bailed him out last game was Caldwell Pope. If it wasn't for him, they don't win that game last week.
Yeah, he definitely stepped up. He was huge.
He carried him in the first half.
Yeah, and he was huge down the stretch for sure for the Lakers team. So I think LeBron gets his fourth tonight, and I think it's only going to be fitting in those Mamba jerseys that it happens. But
they haven't lost in those jerseys yet.
No, and I don't think it'll happen tonight. But it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see a longer series, but I think it's done. I think it's time to close down the bubble. I think the bubble.
It can be longer if the refs get involved.
Yeah, that's true.
How they going to call the game?
That's true. But all things being equal, I think the bubble will burst tonight. It will be closed down. Lakers will celebrate and get on out of there and head on to, I don't even know if they're going to have a victory parade with COVID. So we'll see what that looks like. But we'll definitely see what happens. So LeBron will get number 4, and I guess we can start talking about the LeBron and Jordan debate at this point again. But I don't think he's going to get past this. I think this is going to be his last one. I don't think he's going to get another one. I think
Magic said he needs 5. Magic said earlier he needs 5. I just say, look, he's in the conversation. He's on the Mount Rushmore. I think LeBron, when he gets this ring, he solidified himself as a top 5 all time. If you look at it, he could be the leading scorer in NBA history, and he'll be top in assists in NBA history as well, top 5. So, I mean, he's up there with the greatest. I mean, so that's all you need to say. He's in the top 5 of the greatest basketball players, the top 2 or 3 of all time. So
you can't ask for anything more than that.
I'll take that in about $500 million.
I think most of us would.
He just bought that new mansion that Howard Hughes had and Catherine Hepburn had. And,
yeah.
Hey, life is good.
Life is good. It's always good to be LeBron James. Got money, going to get 4 rings, and could get
a nice family.
Yeah, he's got it all. You can't ask for anything more than that. So, I mean, kudos to LeBron James. But I think he gets it done tonight. The bubble is shut down, closed, cleaned up, and everybody goes home happy, at least if you're Los Angeles Lakers.
And this will be the first game that China broadcast from the NBA. So they're letting things down. So China is broadcasting this game tonight.
Okay, all right. So we got that. I know there was some friction between China and the NBA after Daryl Morey's comments, but I mean it's a lot of money coming out of China, so you know they were going to try to find a way to fix that situation and make that situation right. A lot of money coming from China into the NBA, so you know they're going to fix that situation. So Willie, appreciate it as always, man. Love to do it again.
Have a good week, and everybody get out here and vote. The vote count. It was Shaq's first time voting. Can you believe that? Shaq voted early. It's his first time voting.
That is surprising, but it's not.
Very surprising.
It is surprising, but it's not surprising. When you have that type of money, do you really care what happens?
Are you worried about voting? Well, I think Shaq will be worried about voting the other way because he's got so much money. He wants to not pay that many taxes.
That is true. That is true. So yeah, I mean, at this point, if you had that amount of money, I mean, I'm not knocking Shaq. That's a good thing. But if you have that kind of money, I mean, do you really? What happens? Does it really affect you to all that much? Probably not. So
probably not.
I wish I was Shaq.
Yeah, he's probably on a private jet or some yacht somewhere right now.
Somewhere having fun.
So good.
Shaq's got a lot of great things going on. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
Take care.
Take it easy.
Hall of Famer Willie Roaf. Pleasure having him as always. So we got another minute left, and we're gonna get out of here. But yeah, I think the Lakers get it done tonight, and I think LeBron gets number 4 tonight. And I think we can start talking about LeBron and Jordan again. We can have that conversation. At least have the conversation. I don't know how far it's going to go, but let's have the conversation because LeBron James has definitely earned his stripes in a lot of ways. So can't wait for tonight's action. It's going to be starting in about an hour or so. So want to thank Hall of Famer Willie Roaf for stopping by. You can listen to this show, other shows, blogtalkradio.com/PGAN. You can listen to here on this YouTube channel, youtube.com/GoForItGan, Facebook.com/GoForRadio. So a lot of different places where you can hear this great show. Before we get out of here, I want to touch on Tom Brady one more time. I feel like the situation with Tom Brady is this. It's obvious, it's clear, based on your body language, based on you putting up the number 4, based on all the things that you did, that you didn't know it was the 4th down. And that's okay. As a leader of the team, as a leader of men, as a leader, period, there's times where you got to say you were right. There's times, where you got to yell at guys and get in their face like he did last night. And then when you're wrong, there's times where you have to say, you know what, I messed up. I was wrong. I did this wrong. I did that wrong. So there's times where you have to do that, and that is life. But Tom Brady, he knows better than I do. He's a better leader than maybe I'll ever could be. He's won 6 Super Bowls. He's great. He's this, that, and the third. But I think he messed up here, and it was an opportunity and a chance for him to, as a leader, say, you know what, my bad. For everybody here at Go For It, we hope you have a great day. See you later. Take care.